What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jeffo coming at you with another video. And I hope everybody's doing well. Everybody's been, chasing their dreams. Everybody's been still, staying constant in their pursuit of their goals, right? I made a video a while ago where I said, like, it's not enough to just memorize things. You have to learn how things work. You have to learn how things work. And when I was younger, I really didn't take the importance of, the actual learning why. Now, there were times where I would lock into things that were that interested me. I was very interested in animals. Like, I would watch more Animal Planet than I did of cartoons. I had no idea why, but I just kept watching, and I started understanding things in a different type of way. I started seeing the correlations between humans and animals, as we are animals, but I started seeing I started understanding more and more and more and more, and like why things happen. Why do we move like this? Why do we have this? You feel me? So the why is very, very important. A lot of times when we go to school, we think that, school is there to teach us everything that we need to know about it. And to be real honest with you, the more that I've read books, the more that I've actually, dived into actual learning and trying to understand things, the more that I understand that I don't know a lot, right? And how we put school, and now don't get me wrong, school has given me a lot of resources, right? But schools, I wouldn't say its main job is to teach you everything that you need to do. It's not. It gives you the resource. It gives you the actual framework to actually try to pursue. It gives you, patterns, and it gives you, concepts of how to, learn and stuff, right? But it's a lot way more than that. You have to teach yourself. The more I've read, the more I've watched videos, the more I've, been to conferences and listened to other people speak that have experience within their fields, the more that I understand that I need to study way more. Because we rely on, our teachers, especially if you're in school or even at work. Let's say you're at work, you rely on people that had experience, right? But there's a lot of things that can happen within that. One, their knowledge could be limited, right? Their knowledge could be limited in what they can actually teach you, right? Maybe they've, for whatever time that they were studying, they learned everything else, but time has changed. So now, things that they are teaching you now, like they may be, the fundamentals, but like, there's more things that have been added to it. So you need to learn and learn and learn on your own, because things are always changing. Two, sometimes that person is not going to tell you everything that you need to know. To be honest with you, sometimes that person, it will gatekeep, will tell you what just enough, sometimes just enough to satisfy you, to make you feel like you are learning. But if you don't know, and you're not actually like every single day trying to like learn, every single day trying to, then you won't even know. You'll be getting fed from like a little funnel, little drops, and actually those things have nothing to do, or not nothing to do, but those things aren't even, reaching the actual pinnacle of what you actually need to know to actually start moving forward. So you're stuck in this cycle where you're very surface level. You can't be surface level in this. You have to put in the work. And I will say it's not the easiest thing, because putting in the time and stuff like that, it may seem like, okay, yeah, all I have to do is just sit down and read, but this is something that you got to train yourself, kind of like how athletes do. You got to work on actually trying to learn. You have to work on actually trying to understand, and through time you'll start being able to pick up things that are very important. Because when we are reading books, we think that we have to read the book throughout. Every word matters, everything's like that. Yes, it is important to read, the book throughout and actually trying to understand. But once you start actually like getting them and understanding, okay, I need to understand why, you need to read the book on why, not just to memorize. And when you start doing that, you'll read the book, but you'll start picking out things that are very important. You'll start getting your critical thinking up, right? This is what happens when you are studying, when you're reading books, when you're doing things for a prolonged period of time. Your critical thinking starts getting up. You start being able to pick up things that are very important. You start moving in ways that are actually gonna actually elevate you. Instead of moving little by little, you're gonna be able to pick out and see things in the future. You're gonna be able to see, you're gonna be able to predict, okay, so if I'm reading this, what am I supposed to learn about this, right? This is the part where you start elevating. This is the part where you start understanding why. This is the part where you start like connecting things in ways that you probably wouldn't been able to if you're just, you know, once a day reading, not even once a day, like once a month, once a year reading a book. Like how are you expecting to be able to grow, right? And a lot of times, and I don't blame them, like we look for, you know, people online to teach us, oh, this is how we need to do this, this is how we need to do this. We want this fast track to how, to the amount of hours that they've put in. And a lot of times they're not, and I don't blame them, they're not willing to, you know, they're not willing to just give you what they've actually took time, blood, sweat, and tears, and burnouts and all that, just to give you for free. Sometimes they'll make you pay for it. Sometimes they'll just give you the surface level. Sometimes they won't even help you at all. And you can't put it on the school to actually teach you. That's one of the main things that I had a problem with when I was in school. I used to get, you know, lower grades. I used to get very lower grades, and I used to be, you know, blaming the teachers on why, but it was me when I was four. And I've told this story a while, like, you know, on my other videos, and I'm gonna tell you these right now. Like, I used to, you know, get F's until I had to get A's, and then I ended up, you know, studying and staying inside and actually studying and doing all that stuff, and I finished with, you know, with a high grade of 4.0. I finished with straight A's after that. Yes, that was the beginning, but I understand later now, yes, a lot of that, what I was doing was memorizing. Maybe there was a little bit of why, but right after I finished, you know, school, I went right back to, you know, not really reading books and stuff like that, and things that I thought that I knew faded, right? So it needs to be a constant work. It needs to be a constant in by yourself. So if you need groups and stuff like that, you can do that, groups. But a lot of times I feel like the best way to learn is just sitting out in a quiet place, getting a book, and just constantly diving in and deep diving into all of those things, and putting in the hours and learning and learning and learning. You start understanding that life is more complicated than you actually think. I mean, it's very simple, but there's a lot of moving parts within it, and you have to put in the work to get the knowledge. You're not going to get the knowledge, you're not going to get exactly what you need if you do not put in the work. So you need to put in the work. You need to constantly be learning. You need to constantly be trying to go like that, because, you know, in this life, if you are where you are and you want to move up, and you want to actually achieve goals that you're set for yourself, the most important thing to do is to upgrade your knowledge. You need to become worthy. You need to get your worth up.